Hey gang, Kevin here, Life22. And we'll try and make this a quick one, but it's a late one. I've got a lot of work to do in the morning, so I just want to try to address this issue. So I was reading the interwebs, and on the Facebooks, there was a post shared on the 14760 group from Reed's Food Barn, and they were not notified about a project that's been going on since I was on the council. Just saying, about 5-6 years ago, this topic got brought up. It was the South Union Street streetscape. And it became the South Union Street Gateway project, and they've renamed it. They've gone through redesign. I believe we're in the third engineering firm. We've gone through 4 DPW directors since this project got brought up, and I believe there was DRI funding that was potentially on, going to partially fund it. But anyways, the post was about Reed's Food Barn not being notified that their entrance to the parking lot, one of their 2 entrances to their parking lot, was being shut down. And that was their gripe, and I don't blame them. I'm a small business owner. If I spend quite a bit of money advertising something, I can anticipate, and I have ample notice, 2 weeks to a month, I might be able to get the word out to 25% of our regular customers. You see what I mean? And so it's okay, you give no notice, and so that was a headache. And when I was on the Common Council, I stopped down and I talked to, the local lumber yard down the road. And in that 6-year period when it first got brought up, during that time period, my mechanic had moved to South Union Street from West State. And I believe it was during that time period, maybe it was slightly before. But either way, it was right around that time. So he was new to the neighborhood, and ebbing and flowing through, growing his business. So I told all of anyone that I could that worked down there, and it wasn't my ward, but I was very friendly with a lot of those business owners, and I'm a small business owner, and I know how government doesn't have a lot of times will just put out a press release and that's all it is, and except, it's directly affecting your business. If your business goes out of business, no one's going to take accountability from the government, which they should, So I would always tell them, go to all these meetings. I will try my best to keep you posted on what is going on. And then from there, we'll, hopefully we come up with an amicable solution if the project goes through. I was one of 7 votes, and I was kind of on the fence on it, right? Well, is it a good project? Is it a bad project? There's a lot of infrastructure. Are they going to include the infrastructure? We didn't know. Like I said, it's been redesigned 3 times, and I still don't know what's in it because I'm no longer on the council, so I don't get those details, and it's one of those things. So, but anyways, I got called 2 weeks ago from my mechanic, and he was griping to me about, hey man, they're asking me to move my vehicles. They're asking me to do this, they're asking me to do that. I have all these things going on with my building and my business, and this is not the conversation I had 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm like, what conversation? He goes, 2 years ago and 4 or 5 years ago, I had a different, 4 or 5 years ago, I had a guy come by, and he said he was part of the project or whatever. And he goes, I don't know if it was the DPW director. I don't know if it was an engineer. I don't know if it was an engineering firm or whoever, a pollster, some survey guy. He goes, it was just a person from the project coming out, talking to small business owners in the area to let them know about the project, get their feedback, intake, all that other stuff. And I'm like, okay, what did what came of that? And he goes, nothing. He told me there's nothing I had to worry about. There'd be no loss of business. That all businesses down here are going to be completely taken care of. Do not worry. It's not going to disturb you at all. Obviously there's going to be a little construction. That would be a disturbance, but it's only going to grow your business. It's only going to make your property values go up. It was just all these song and dance, sunshine out the butt. And he goes, all right, well, my big concerns with a project like this is I don't need to lose any parking. I'm constantly swamped with vehicles. I can't get good people. This is pre-COVID now, mind you. I can't, I have people that don't bring their vehicles down until they're ready because I don't have room to store vehicles, and we're trying to bang them out as fast as we can. And don't worry, we're not going to remove one parking spot from your stuff. Perfect. He's like, can we do something about this stupid bus stop? The previous owner of the building had a bus station, when it was a bus garage. He had a Greyhound bus stop put in. Somehow it became the city's, and the city also had one up, like 2 blocks up before the bridge on the same side of the street. And then that one got taken out in a windstorm. I don't even know if that one still exists. But he goes, this bus stop's got to go. He goes, this bus stop's got to go. There's it's just a Greyhound bus that comes through here. It takes people to Buffalo, and it might be the city's. It was Greyhounds. They installed it. It had something to do with the original business, but now it doesn't. There's nothing that needs to be, he goes, I'm sick and tired of cleaning up heroin needles and having just all these just shady people doing drug deals in front of my business, and then they have cars, and then they park their cars there like it's overnight parking, and he's trying to post it, and it's like he gets people towed, and then he gets yelled at by Greyhound, and it's just like this whole big mess. And he's like, can we just get rid of the stupid bus stop? And the person from wherever, the city or the engineering firm or whoever, says, yeah, don't worry, bus stop's not even going to be part of this project. If you don't want it there, it's not yours, or whatever. We're gonna do what we have to. We'll get rid of it. And he's like, perfect. He's like, that's kind of more important to me. If I had to lose a couple parking spots and then they got rid of that, perfect. But the main goal would be don't lose any parking spots and get rid of the stupid bus stop, because then he gets, 2 years ago, he gets another visit, different guy, part of the project, surveying, and he's like, so it could be the engineering firm sending somebody out to do their due diligence. It could be, like I said, DPW director. It could be an engineer, whoever, right? Almost identical conversation. He says, listen, I've done this before, song and dance. He goes, I was told the last time, oh yeah, don't worry, that's what's going to happen. A couple weeks ago, and this is why he griped to me, he goes, dude, people just left my building yesterday and said that, you need to get all these vehicles out of the parking spots, because we're going to start construction. And he goes, okay. And he goes, because he's not a dummy, and he knows the government's more likely going to screw you than anything else. He goes, how many parking spaces am I losing? Well, we're moving the sidewalk closer to the curb, so, and you're doing this and that, and, we're bumping in a little bit. And he's like, how many parking spots am I losing? Well, you'd still have room. And it's like, but then you wouldn't have any room to be able to pull vehicles in. And he ends up losing 12 parking spaces. And they show him the map, they're keeping the damn bus stop. And it's like, then why are you going around? Well, you should have gone to the meetings. That's the answer that most of these business owners are getting. You should have gone to the meetings and spoke your mind. And it's like, but you sent somebody around and said, don't worry, we're taking all your concerns in now, and every one of your concerns is going to be brought up and put into the design. I guess the third engineering firm didn't decide to go around and ask anybody, so they just waited for people to show up at the meetings, and nobody's showing up at the meetings because they, I don't know. Why would you show up to meetings? If you had somebody come by your place, you didn't know that it got redesigned 3 times. You had somebody that came by and said, don't worry, we got all your concerns taken care of. You had somebody come by twice. How are you supposed to know they kiboshed the project and redesigned it again, and then that last firm didn't do, their due diligence, or didn't have notes from the previous firm, so now all of a sudden, he's losing 12 of his parking spots. He's got like 16, so he leaves him with 4 parking spots. And then he's got the bus stop, which is way more of a concern. He's like constantly picking up needles out there. Like, thank God that they've made hypodermic needles not illegal in New York anymore, so like he can go out there and sweep them up, because as soon as you picked up a needle 10-15 years ago, you could get arrested just for picking it up. You saw it on the street, you got whatever, like puncture proof gloves, and you pick it up and you dispose of it properly, you go to jail. Like, so it's good that that's not in existence, I guess, but like, he shouldn't have to deal with that. He's a local business owner. Take the crack shack down in front of his business, like. And then he didn't get noticed. He didn't. I'm sure he got the notice of move these freaking vehicles, and he complied, which is what you want, compliance from your citizens. But man, there's a difference between complying and then like, we're here to help you. Bend over, touch your toes. Nothing bad's gonna happen. Well, except for this poke, right? And that's kind of what, and I feel his pain. And I'm a small business owner. Like, I think it's ridiculous. If I was promised, and I was explaining this to somebody the other day, like if people don't seem to get it. Like if your employee, if one of his employees promises that we'll replace if we put your transmission in, we'll guarantee it, and we promise we'll replace it for 200,000 miles. That's quite a fucking promise right there. And if in 150,000 miles, well after that employee is long gone, that employee promised that, even if it was a verbal agreement, like, he's responsible for replacing it because the employee is an extension of him. It's the exact same as if the words came out of his mouth. So, and that's, it's one of those things. It's like, man, but you can't hold government to that. Should be able to, but why are they sending people out and they're doing the complete opposite? And I feel bad for the lumber company down the road, because who knows what's going to happen with them. They said during the first two designs that they were going to make concessions for they get huge semi trucks in every day, like at least 4 times a week. So not every day, but at least 4 times a week, like Monday through Thursday, or Monday through Friday. 4 of those days they're getting a shipment in. It's like they might get multiple shipments, and it's like, why? What are you going to do to those guys? Like, Reed's Food Barn's taking it on the chin right now. It's like, hey, people are still going to go there. But, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It grinds your gears. So, I'm trying to find solutions for these guys, because they're small local business owners like myself. And, so, I mean, the only thing they can do is they can call the executive branch of the government. They can ask, they can say, hey, can we talk about this? Like, you guys said that we're going to do this. What can we do? And I think the biggest noisemaker they can do is call their local representative. And that's what they have to do. And I would implore them to. And I would implore their customers to do that. And because that's the only way you're going to get a project to at least, slow its roll. Because it's like, man, you told those people, like, they don't have to come to meetings because we're taking your opinion right now. And now all of a sudden, it's not just screwing the guy that owns the property, that runs the business out of there. They're also screwing you as the guy who takes your vehicle there. Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, where I got to go? Oh, my mechanic went out of business. Well, that sucks. He's been there for 6 years, and he's had a business for 12, and he's a local community member. And now all of a sudden he's bankrupt. And now, can't start a new business, can't move his business, because he just can't go get a loan because he filed bankruptcy. And it's like, fucking over our own people here, because it's nice to have a bike path or something. I don't know. It's like, I think beautification is nice, but I saw someone's post on there, baby steps. Another small local business owner on the North Union Street. She was posting on there, and I'm afraid we're going to go out of business, and, yada, yada. And it's like, we need to we were supposed to do these in baby steps. And it's like, there's ample notice, but when you got like 10 people out there telling you that they're, this is how it's going to happen. And, hey guys, you like the bomb pops with the red, white, and the blue on them? Here you go. Yeah, you like those? Those are great, huh? This is what we got. We got boxes of them. And then they come around and they don't. They got ice cream sandwiches. Ice cream sandwiches aren't bomb pops. What the hell are you doing to us? We're all prepared. Got a bib on, so I don't get the stains on my shirt. And I should have been wearing the gloves and not the bib, because the ice cream sandwich leaves the shit on your fingers. And so people are ill-prepared for this. I think that was a great analogy. Spitting off the cuff there, sober Kevin, drinking the Topo Chico, huh? You like that? Anyways, no, it's all about, it's just the transparency. And it's like, it's government, so nobody really gives a shit. Supposed to. I always try to. I don't know. Depends on if it's your pet project or not. But sometimes I would see projects and I would like roll my eyes and be like, oh my God. And I'm like, this isn't a project I'm for or against. I don't really have my heart and my soul into making it happen because it's not something I might agree with or disagree with. But I can see there's an issue here, and that's why I went out of my way to make sure that there was at least some transparency and some discussion and like letting people know, like, listen, I might not always be here. But if I'm not here, you need to be going to meetings and all this other stuff. And it's like, listen, you're trying to run a business. If you run a small business, you're working 80 hours a week. If you're in two small businesses, you're working like 170 hours a week. You get like a 10%, you get like a 10-hour break. So, all right. Well, I told you to be quick, and that was a good 16-minute rant from Kevin. But yeah, that's my take. I think more people should be aware of the plight of small business owners. I think more people should be contacting their aldermen and their local officials to try to at least let them know what their concerns are. That's what the government's job is to be there for, right? Their job is literally like. That's why being an alderman or being a mayor or being whatever is a full-time job. People don't seem to get it. It is a full-time job. There was weeks that I was putting in 40 hours a week just as an alderman. Between the phone calls, the missus would get pissed. I'd have the constituents call me at like 6 o'clock at night and like tell me their problems with the city until like midnight. And I'd take like a 6-hour phone call. What's up, Tony? From 6th Street. You know what I'm talking about. But it was, but that was my job. That was my job. That's what I signed up for, right? I signed up for, and it's like, your job is to expect to receive a phone call from every resident of the city. Even though you only had people within your ward, you represented the entire city as well. So you could take a phone call from any piece of the ward. Somebody who comes to come to visit the farmer's market on a weekend. Guess what? You're almost required to sit there and take their opinion. It sucks, but, sometimes you don't want to hear it. Sometimes it's like a dumb opinion. There are dumb opinions out there. But it's your job to sit there and listen and take it. If the alderman or the mayor couldn't get anything done because their phones were ringing off the hook to the point that important emergency phone calls were coming through, guess what? Tough noogies, because your number one concern is like your job is to take the feedback of the people. So it's the police's job to answer them in emergencies. It's the fire department's job to answer to emergencies. So, but yeah, no, it's just I always tried. Do I miss it? Sure. It's a lot of work. Yeah. And the fact that like I was the only one going around and talking to these people, except for whoever those two people were 4 or 5 years ago or 2 years ago were. And I don't even, they could have been members of the engineering firm that was paid a lot of money to go out and poll local business owners and take their feedback. The fact that they were paid, if it was an engineering firm, they were paid by the city, just like an employee, hence they're an extension of the city. Hence that's why, like, the government gets in a lot of problems because, like, there's people flagging traffic down, like, on construction projects, even if they are a subcontracted firm. Like, yes, they're an employee of a firm or of a construction company who's hired by an engineering firm, who's hired by the city. Essentially, if that flagger does something dumb and you, like, the liability goes all the way up, you just sue the Christ out of all of them, and usually you get a little bit from everybody, but that's because they're all liable, and so it doesn't matter. Like, you send somebody out door to door as an engineering firm, well, like, guess what? Tell your engineers, tell your site plan visitors, don't open their mouth then. If you open your mouth, you're going to get us sued. And if you don't tell them that, well, I guess you should be sued. But I feel for these small business owners. So, I mean, Reed's Food Barn will probably survive. I don't know about the mechanic. He's a great mechanic. I hope he survives. I don't know. I don't know the management at Reed's, so, but Reed's is big enough that they will survive. The lumberyard, they'll probably survive. Will they take a hit? Will it take them 10 years to recover? Who knows? It's New York. It's New York State. Like, you get one stupid little audit on something and they're like, huh, you missed a nickel. Must be a liar. Let's get you. And like, oh, don't get me started on like any of the government departments. The state level. Ugh. Anyways, we could, Jesus, see, I told you, 16-minute rant from Kevin. Now we're back at 21 minutes. So, all right, gang, we'll catch you next time. Life22, stay groovy, and we'll see you.